Hey folks, I'm going to admit something new today that I don't think I've said on Step Back at all, but I have ADHD, and I'm going to talk a little bit about what life of that is like, especially doing academia, doing YouTube, doing all that stuff. So the way that I had ADHD described to me, because it's kind of, as you can probably imagine, it's probably hard to describe what it's like from the inside, but what I've been told through things like brain scans and things like that is that our brains are essentially overactive. And that might sound like some sort of pat on the back, oh, you have an overactive brain, how amazing. But no, when studied under a EEG, the brains of people who have ADHD are overactive in all frequencies all the time. This doesn't just mean your nice, steady focus stuff, it means that kind of distractive, fuzzy feeling that you have when you're really tired. It has that slowness of being tired, and it has that kind of mode when you're just not in the mood for working, you just want to play or do something that is brainless. And you basically have all of those going all the time. Having ADHD is pretty difficult, especially if you want a job that requires a lot of focus and attention, which in today's economy is pretty much every job that has a decent wage. When I was a kid, people were still not sure about what to do with ADHD, so doctors went back and forth trying to say whether or not I had it. For a little while, I'd be on Ritalin, and then I wouldn't be, and then people just thought I was a terrible person or someone who just didn't feel like they were able to accomplish anything. Pretty much everyone had given up on me, and yeah, it was a pretty rough time being a kid for me. I was very, very bad at the whole going to school thing. Where I started getting real treatment was when I actually started grad school. I eventually started to see the school psychologist, and she put me in a program. It eventually started with a diagnostic test, and after the test was done, and the test came out that I actually do have ADHD, then they put me on a few things. Like one, they said that they probably don't recommend medication. My case isn't serious enough for medication, and I think they're trying to reduce the amount of prescriptions for Adderall they give out these days. So what they were going to do for me is two things. One, they put me on something called neurofeedback therapy. And when I was doing this seriously for about a year, I was visiting the same psychologist. So she would hook up my brain to an EEG machine, and there would be a screen that I would look at. And when I looked at the screen, I would look through and see the different things. I was trying to make beeps happen on a screen, and basically, if my brain waves did what a normal person's brain looked like, it would give me a beep, tell me I was doing the right thing. And I guess your brain can unconsciously make those connections. After doing that for a few months, it felt like I was actually training my brain to be able to put myself into focus mode much easier than I was before. I'm still not like a normal person when it comes to things. I didn't even notice how much different I was until I started living with my wife. And the fact that I am constantly forgetting things, the fact that I have no idea what to do next, and if I don't have direct orders, I am lost. So the next thing that I did, and this was during my MA, so this helped me probably more than anything. If you want to take away any piece of advice, this is probably the biggest one to do. And that is, I became super organized. I read the book Getting Things Done by David Allen, and I got into My Life Organized, which is an amazing piece of software that helps you organize things in your life. And now I pretty much swear by it. There's pretty much nothing else that I could do without the checklists to keep me on top of all of my tasks. But I do want to say, and I'll probably tell a longer story about my long journey from D- student in high school to PhD student, but for now, I thought I'd just let you know that you can do it. And if you think that you have some sort of learning disability, don't let it define you. There are ways to work through the things you're not good at, and the whole thing about not being neurotypical, I think, is the word we're banding around these days. Not being neurotypical sometimes leads you to think things in ways that other people don't. So people said that people with ADHD are really good at being managers or project managers or performers or people who speak on microphones or artists. And, well, you're watching me on YouTube now, aren't you? Anyways, have a good week. I'll see you next week. Until then, I'm Tristan, a historian, IRL.